Today I learned how to weld, maybe. I don't know. What do you think, Keith? Am I learning how to weld today? He's like, no. Let's get to it. What's going on, guys? Matt over here, Lethal Garage, and today we're back with part 2 of the Detroit Speed mini tub setup. Now, I kind of didn't take a step back to really look at all of the steps, but this part 2 is going to be basically welding in the metal plates, welding in the mini tubs, and basically getting the whole interior dialed in. What this video is not going to include is the spring perches and all that stuff. That's going to have to be a separate video because that's just, there's a lot to cover there, and I want to make sure we cover it properly. So, as you can see, car, I got it all emptied out. I got the garage in a much better shape. You know, we got this part. If you guys didn't see, oh yeah, Heath, you didn't see this. Oh well. So, you may have seen in the previous video where we went out to Havasu and got a new rear window tray package with the back seat. And, you know, we got to get that bad boy in here. But you can see we got the mini tubs in. We're gonna do some finessing and some fitting and get these metal plates tacked and put in position. So let's just get to it. So what you can see Heath doing here is he's just fine tuning the main piece of metal that's gonna be tack and welded in so we get a nice tight fit. So he's just taking our grinder, working away at it, making marks, seeing where it needs to come off, see where it needs to come down, making additional bends. But the idea here is to get this piece as tight as you can up against the inside so that way welding is a lot easier. So Heath is gonna keep grinding away at this. Maybe he'll let me do something, probably not, doesn't trust me. And we'll keep it going. So one of the big things to highlight here is you do have to grind in the tower brace a bit to allow you to put the piece of metal, because that was flush in there after making the initial cut. But outside of that, everything else is just kind of bending and prying and getting our new metal pieces sit in there just nice. So at this point, we're gonna tack it in. Yeah, first welded piece. So Heath is having all sorts of fun right now, getting the other metal bracket in place. He's, again, just working away at it, trimming it down, edging it in place so we can get it going. What are you thinking? How's it looking? So you can see we got the rear portion tacked in. It's not welded in, but it is tacked in place. Looking good. And now we're just getting the front set up. Lots of finessing. So at this point, we got the rough weld all in all the way around. So I'm gonna clean it up, make it look pretty, and get messy. Let's do it. We got it all cleaned up for the most part. Tops and sides, you can see it looks all nice and shiny. Got in there for a little bit, and then of course food delivered, so he jumped in, finished her up. But we got this side basically welded in for the metal plates. Now we can get the mini tub, see how it fits in there. I mean, we've done 1.5 million fitments on it, but yeah, this is kind of what it looks like after all dressed up. There's a few spots here and there that we'll probably hit one more time with the welder, but outside of that, this is looking good. And if you guys weren't aware of how messy this is, grinding and cutting and sanding and everything, your floors are gonna be a nice magnetic grayish black color. I hung up tarps to keep half the garage at least somewhat clean. It's working, just some 3M from Harbor Freight. But here, we're gonna get the tub in, see how it looks. Probably even get the marks and everything in place for the welds and tacks up against the body of the car. We'll see. So at this point, we're gonna mark it. You can see we did it before, but now that we have the fitment in place, we're gonna remark.
You got a different color marker?
I think I have a silver one somewhere. So at this point, we've now marked the inside liner edge that's gonna weld up to the metal plates we just put in. So as you remember, we drilled the holes on the outside edge to meet up to the inside body. Now this will meet up to the new plate that is now technically part of the inside body. So we gotta drill these holes out and make it easier to weld in. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. You can see how that lines up with all of our holes drilled right along those nice metal edges. Gives us a nice big area to tack and weld onto those plates. Get a nice solid setup. Overall looking really good. And you'll see there's a little bit extra lip on the bottom, but once we get this all tacked in, we can cut that extra metal off, make it flush, make it look clean. But outside of that, this kit's a pretty straightforward setup. Next step, welding it in and rinse and repeat on the other side. Where did we leave off? It's a couple days after last weekend. It's evening time. It's raining outside California. But as you can see, we welded in the passenger side mini tub, and now we got a bunch of weld nubs on the inside and the outside. And tonight is all about just grinding those down and making it nice and smooth and being good to go. We'll probably run another seam of weld along some of the edges, but most of the gaps and everything else are going to be filled in with seam sealer. Obviously we haven't touched this side yet. That's going to be happening tomorrow in this video, fast motion, because it's basically rinse and repeat of what you've already seen. We're back at it. Got Heath and Craig here today. Oh my, what a treat. So we flipped the car around in the garage. Wish I would have got that on video. We literally used Harbor Freight stools to flip the car around. But as you can see, Heath is welding, getting the main metal plates that we're gonna be attaching the mini tub to. Craig is over there marking the 1 3/4 spacing between the bolts and or the holes, so we can weld it to the plates that are getting welded in as you speak. And we're making some good progress. Again, this side is rinse and repeat from what we've already showed you on the other side. So yeah, we'll get some fast motion here and get right on into the final look. Look at that. Driver's side mini tub is sheet metal screwed in for now. And we're gonna get the welds going, but dang, Heath and Craig today, good job. What are we gonna do about those big holes?
Which one?
Right there.
Not my problem.
So we got all the welding in place for the driver's side tub, looking really good. One thing that we're doing real quick, as I mentioned earlier, there's some holes here and there across the body of the vehicle. It looked like maybe they hole punched out the trunk. I don't know for sure, but we just did a little grinding. We're gonna fill in those holes and cracks. You can see the floorboard here needs some replacement, some work. We're not thinking it's gonna be too bad because it's really just in here. So we're gonna cut this out, get some pieces of metal and put them in. I don't think we need to replace the whole things. And that's really the only rust spots. All the rest of the floor is in pretty good shape, just surface rust. Just needs a little bit of touch up. So we're gonna get, when we get it media blasted and everything, we'll know for sure, because that will reveal everything that needs to be done. But outside of that, the welding aspect of the tub inside and outside of the car are done, driver and passenger side. That's awesome. You can see the weld. It's got hairs. It's like a hairy mole.
Yeah, it'll have to be cleaned up.
But it's all cleaned up, looking good. Again, once we get everything else just sanded, prepped, seam sealed, and then we get the undercoating on the car, this is gonna look flawless. But there you guys have it. The mini tubs are welded in, so we have the interior and exterior setup done. Now keep in mind there's still a lot of cleanup to do on the vehicle in regards to media blasting and cleaning up edges and stuff like that. Do that at your own will, but in this instance, basically seam sealer is going to be the next step to seal it all up, make it look all pretty. Then we're going to get the undercoating on the car. It's going to look fabulous. So I'll do a follow-up of what the mini tubs look like once we get all the interior and everything in there. But there's still a couple more parts to this series. So the next part is going to be the leaf spring bracket welding, or cutting and welding and all that stuff. And then we also need to tie in modifying the seats, so the seat back and the lower seats, to show you how that modification is done. I'm going to do all of that in the next video, and that will final basically this series of the install. The rest of it is going to be down the road once the car's ready for interior and everything, and I'll show you how it all looks all said and done. So hopefully this guide is a great step, or has been somewhat helpful into leading you the right way into getting your mini tub install going. Again, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, post them down below in the comments. As always, we're not 100% perfect. Again, we're following the Detroit Speed manual or guide per se that comes with the kit, but I'm hoping these steps will give you a little bit more courage to do it on your own if you guys have the tools or know someone who can come out and help you do it. Either or, encouragement, comments, posts, all that stuff down below is more than welcome. We still have part 3 incoming. Make sure to subscribe or follow the playlist for the 71 Camaro build. But until next time, guys, I hope to see you on the road.